It's all over, or at least that's what I keep hearing. What's going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gentlemen, today's video might definitely be categorized as bittersweet. Now, of course, if you guys do enjoy the video and enjoy the discussion, don't forget to leave a like on today's video here on YouTube. Thank you so very much for your continued support. And with that in mind, let's dive on in. So what are we talking about today? Well, if you watch the state of play that unfolded just this past week for Sony, you'll probably notice that, well, one very obvious omission from that entire show was any sort of news about Insomniac Games, particularly speaking, the DLC for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Now, of course, I'm aware of the fact that Insomniac allegedly is working on a Venom game, and then in addition to that, they have that Wolverine title that has been officially announced. Now, I personally thought that there would be a very small chance that we would hear news on either one of those titles. However, I was definitely one of the people that believed that we would be hearing something about Marvel Spider-Man 2's DLC. Obviously, since that did not happen, I've seen a lot of people turn very sour and say, hey, there's not actually going to be any sort of DLC. It is not happening. Everything that we've seen for Marvel Spider-Man 2 is pretty much all the content that you can expect. Well, I've got some bad news for those people, or I guess good news for us who do want DLC, because, well, in kind of weird, I guess, unofficial way, Insomniac themselves have confirmed that there is indeed DLC being worked on for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Now, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, of course, with the last update for Marvel Spider-Man 2, or let me clarify, the last major update for Marvel Spider-Man 2 saw the new Game Plus release, along with a bunch of other features. Now, one of the features that was left inside the update by mistake by Insomniac themselves was a debug menu. And for the people that accessed that debug menu and started digging through it, they were able to find a whole menu page that essentially spoiled the plans for a Beetle DLC. Now, I know a lot of you, including myself, are probably scratching your head going like, oh, really, Beetle? I mean, the game doesn't really set up Beetle as a possible villain. Why the heck would they be working on that? That's a whole nother question for a whole nother time. But what I will say is that obviously because of that being found during the debug menu debacle, you can definitely go on ahead and safely say that there is most certainly being content developed for Marvel Spider-Man 2 for some point in the future. In addition to that, I also do want to mention that obviously people kind of seem to already forget, I guess it's just because of how fast the world moves nowadays, the fact that Insomniac was part of a huge hack earlier this year, which I am certain caused tons and tons of problems for the individuals working at the company, but also for the company itself in terms of logistics and just trying to get themselves back onto their footing and figuring out what the heck they can do to get back on track, get back on schedule, and get their project moving in the right direction again. And I just want to remind you guys, remember when we got the announcement for New Game Plus for Marvel Spider-Man 2's update? Well, that was just a couple of days after a State of Play show, which to me personally was quite shocking, because when you think about the importance and the scale of the Insomniac team, you kind of expect them to participate in PlayStation events. Well, instead, it seems like they get to work at their own schedule. Essentially, when something is ready to show, that is when they are going to show it. They're not going to try to rush towards the goal of appearing during a PlayStation event. And that's something that we've seen unfold several times with that team. So I'm basically trying to say that just because they haven't shown anything at a State of Play, it doesn't mean that they can't just simply announce something on their own schedule when it's ready to go, especially when you add the previous context of the crazy hack that they had to deal with earlier this year. And as if all that wasn't enough, of course, we also have the Summer Game Fest coming up this upcoming weekend, which means that there is definitely a chance that we see something Marvel Spider-Man 2 related during that show, especially considering how much of a presence they had at the last Summer Games Fest. So there's certainly a possibility there. And then I obviously also want to remind you guys that PlayStation is rumored to be releasing a PlayStation 5 Pro later on this holiday season, with the most likely announcement taking place sometime in September. Well, if you're a PlayStation, I don't think you're going to be releasing a PlayStation 5 Pro without some type of an enticing piece of software to go along with that. And when you look at their successes for the PlayStation 5 era, there is no bigger than the one and only Marvel Spider-Man 2. So how do you make it even bigger? Well, you announce a DLC pack, maybe even a few packs for that title. So because of that, I feel like there's definitely going to be some form of DLC for Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I really genuinely do believe that it's not a case of if, it's much more so a case of when will we finally be hearing some announcements. So there you go, guys. That's my opinion. Those are my thoughts on the Marvel Spider-Man 2 DLC. I still think it's happening. I expect it to be announced sometime this year, and I still do expect at least a part of that DLC to be released this year as well. Now, if they go in the format of Marvel Spider-Man, where essentially they release multiple episodes of DLC, I don't expect maybe all of them to release this year, although that would be pretty freaking awesome. Like, imagine if we get an announcement in September that they're doing DLC episodes, and those episodes are going to be dropping once a month. So for example, October we get episode 1, November we get episode 2, and of course December we would conclude the year with episode number 3. That would be absolutely terrific. I would love to see that happen. But let me know what you guys think about the possibility of Marvel Spider-Man 2's DLC. Do you think that it's actually going to happen? Or do you think that it's foolish to hope for it at this point in time? Do you think that all we have seen for the game is pretty much all we're going to get for the game? Let me know down in the comment section below. In addition to that, of course, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to leave a like. I will hopefully catch you guys here at the Summer Games Fest live stream, where we will be reacting live to all of the hopefully exciting announcements that will be unfolding. Thanks all for watching, and I'll hopefully catch you guys here on the next one. Peace out. See you later, alligators.